Hi there, I'm Alex. I grew up in a small, picturesque town nestled in the rolling hills of the countryside. My parents, hard-working folks, were farmers, tilling the land and reaping the rewards of their labor. They dedicated long hours to our family farm, cultivating the earth from dawn till dusk. And naturally, they expected me to pitch in as I grew older. But I was never one to stay in one place for too long. My imagination was boundless, and the world around me held endless wonders. As a child, I was an explorer, a dreamer, and a budding adventurer. One of my earliest memories was of the towering oak tree in our backyard. It was colossal, and its branches seemed to touch the sky. One summer, I decided that it needed a treehouse. Armed with nothing but scrap wood I found in the old shed, rusty nails, and sheer determination, I embarked on a grand construction project. My treehouse wasn't a masterpiece by any means. It was more a rickety shack suspended amidst the branches than a proper house. But it was mine. My secret hideout where I could escape from the world and dream of grand adventures. Speaking of which, my dreams often took me on wild journeys. Once, I convinced myself that hidden treasure was buried in our backyard. Armed with a tiny shovel, I began digging feverishly, convinced that I was on the brink of uncovering a chest filled with gold doubloons. The result? A giant, muddy crater and a stern talking to from my bewildered parents. School wasn't my favorite place either. The classroom felt like a cage to me, a place where my boundless energy was stifled. I'd often find myself gazing out the window, daydreaming about far-off lands and epic quests. One memorable day, our teacher asked each of us to name our heroes. Most of my classmates chose famous athletes, scientists, or even fictional characters. But when it was my turn, I proudly declared that my hero was a pirate from a book I'd once read. The class burst into laughter, and the teacher, stifling a smile, gently explained that pirates weren't considered heroes. I was undeterred, though. In my eyes, pirates were the epitome of adventure, and that's what I aspired to be. My parents, loving as they were, worried about my lack of focus. They tried various methods to channel my boundless curiosity, from enrolling me in extracurricular activities to limiting my playtime. But I remained a free spirit, seeking adventure at every turn. As I grew older, I made friends who shared my love for adventure. Together, we explored the nearby woods, discovered hidden caves, and climbed the tallest trees. Those were some of the best times of my life, filled with laughter, camaraderie, and the thrill of the unknown. But as the years passed, my parents grew increasingly concerned. They believed it was time for me to embrace responsibility, to become a contributing member of the family farm. They couldn't fathom my unquenchable thirst for adventure when there was so much work to be done. And that's when I realized that the world of exploration I'd always known was changing. One day, I met Sarah, a fellow student who shared none of my family's farming traditions but all of my love for adventure. She was an avid reader, devouring books about far-off places and thrilling escapades. As we got to know each other, she introduced me to the world of literature. Sarah opened my eyes to new horizons. Through her, I embarked on countless literary adventures. I journeyed with explorers through uncharted territories, battled dragons in mystical realms, and sailed stormy seas with fearless pirates. In those stories, I found the echoes of my own dreams and yearnings. Sarah and I became fast friends, kindred spirits who shared a passion for both real and imaginary adventures. She inspired me to embrace a different kind of exploration, the exploration of knowledge through books. With her encouragement, I began to read voraciously. I lost myself in the pages of novels, learning about distant cultures, ancient histories, and the courage of legendary heroes. Each book was a gateway to a new world, and I couldn't get enough. Eventually, as my appetite for reading grew, so did my desire to put pen to paper. I started to jot down my own adventures and weave stories inspired by my childhood escapades. Sarah became my first reader and biggest supporter. She told me that my stories had a unique charm, a sense of authenticity that drew readers in. One day, a notice at our local library caught my eye. A writing competition was being held. The theme was discovering the unknown, and it struck a chord deep within me. With Sarah's encouragement, I decided to submit a story. I poured my heart and soul into that tale. I wrote about our little town, the farm, and the adventures of my childhood friends. I shared my experiences and the magic of discovery. And when I clicked the Submit button, I felt a rush of exhilaration. Weeks passed, and I almost forgot about the competition amid my regular farm chores and a newfound love for writing. But one day, an envelope arrived, bearing the insignia of the library. I tore it open, my heart pounding. To my astonishment, I had won the competition. My story would be published in a magazine, and I would receive a small monetary prize. The joy that coursed through me was indescribable. It was as if I'd found treasure beyond measure, and it wasn't gold doubloons buried in the ground but words, stories, and the power of imagination. My writing journey had begun, and with Sarah's unwavering support, it gained momentum. I continued to craft stories, each one a testament to the world I had explored as a child and the world of books that had opened up to me. But the path I'd chosen wasn't without its challenges. My parents worried about my future. They couldn't understand how writing stories could provide a stable income. Farming had been their way of life for generations, and they feared I was straying too far from tradition. Despite their concerns, I persisted. Sarah believed in me, and that belief gave me the strength to pursue my passion wholeheartedly. I wrote about the changing seasons on the farm, the beauty of the countryside, and the lessons I'd learned from the land. One day, as I walked through our fields, I stumbled upon a hidden grove, bathed in the soft light of the setting sun. It was a place I'd never noticed before, a place of serene beauty. Inspired by that moment, I penned a story about the secret grove, and it resonated with readers far and wide. As time passed, my stories found a loyal readership, and opportunities began to emerge. I received invitations to literary events, interviews, and collaborations with fellow writers. Sarah's belief in me had been vindicated, and I was on the path to becoming a successful writer. However, the journey wasn't without its bumps and detours. Challenges arose, doubts crept in, and there were moments when I questioned my choices. But it was during those times that I drew upon the adventurous spirit of my childhood self, the same spirit that had driven me to build rickety tree houses and dig for buried treasure. My writing journey was an adventure in its own right, filled with unexpected twists and turns, just like those of the pirates I'd admired as a child. And through it all, Sarah remained my anchor, confidant, and biggest supporter. Eventually, my stories found their way to a broader audience, and my humble beginnings on the farm became a source of inspiration for readers worldwide. The lessons I'd learned from the land, the joys of discovery, and the bonds of friendship all found their way into my tales. Today, I'm a writer, and my stories have touched the hearts of many. My parents, once hesitant, have come to embrace my chosen path, proud of the unique voice I've found through my writing. As for my adventurous spirit, it never left me. It lives on in the pages of my books, in the tales of exploration and discovery that continue to captivate readers young and old. In the end, I discovered that adventure isn't confined to distant shores or hidden treasures. It can be found in the words we write, the stories we tell, and the journey of self-discovery that we all embark upon. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to my childhood dreams, my faithful friend Sarah, and the endless adventure of writing.